Welcome back to the show. So, the only things I eat which are raw are salads and sushi. Now, I can't think of anything else that I can eat raw, let alone have an entire diet on it. But we've got some very interesting guests today to share with us this story. And before we bring them on, let's take a look at this. Okay, we'd like to say a very big hello to our guest today. We'd like to say hello to Daisy Lee, who is a raw foodist, has Haris Lee, raw foodist and marketing executive. We've got Jasmine Choi, who is a raw foodist and a mother of two. And we've got Won Eugene, leading nutritionist and wellness coach. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
It's great to
How are you guys doing?
Good.
All good.
Okay, I've got a whole bunch of raw vegetables and raw food, and everything's raw. And I mean, we've got like tons of stuff on Twitter, you know, telling us, you know, what is raw diet? What does it all mean? Maybe you can enlighten us.
Okay, great. Raw food diet is actually a diet based on 100% plant-based. And what are plant-based products? They are like fruits, grains, nuts, and vegetables, all raw.
Okay,
Yes.
so you have that as a complete diet? Is it something you eat every single day?
Well, I would not say that well, there are some people who are on a raw food diet. There are lots of people, you know, I mean, overseas. But for Malaysians, it's not very easy to convert somebody into a raw food diet.
I mean,
it's in moderation.
It's so new. I mean, well, you know, I mean, you hear about this and you read about this, you know, about people being on a raw diet abroad, and especially in the US and stuff where everything is possible there.
Yes.
But us as Malaysians, and we love our cooked food and our lemaks and our, you know, what have you. How is this all gel in? Maybe you can tell us, Haris.
Okay, actually, it's more into education and realizing what we already have, because if you really look into our food, it's a melting pot of cultures and different sort of food. Like, for instance, like kerabu, actually a lot of things are really eaten raw since in our grandmothers. So without knowing that they're actually doing it because of raw, but it just so happens that it is raw. So all you have to do is basically, for Malaysia, we need to educate them on what are the rules in terms of having raw diet.
Okay.
And just because you go for raw doesn't mean that you will go 100% raw. Some raw foodie can go 50%, some 30%. Okay, in fact, not advisable that you go 100% raw immediately. It does take gradually you go up to 100% or 80%. So, but for local food, later I will show you on how to make green smoothie with using our local vegetables.
I'm very excited. We've got a food demo coming on later.
Yes.
But I mean, before I ask you guys some questions, how did you become a raw foodist?
Okay, previously I was in a restaurant and hotel line.
Okay.
And I was more into pastry.
Yeah.
So finding out something different in preparation food is something that I'm always passionate about. So I was looking into, one day I stumbled this YouTube video about preparing raw dessert. I was like, wow, okay, let's see what's going on here. So I thought it was just like, you know, cake batik, that sort of thing. You don't bake and all that. You just put everything. But apparently they use fruits, vegetables, nuts and seed to prepare the dessert. So it got me really interested. And then I started to do more research, and I decided to make one, and I tried. And I thought to myself, hey, this is not bad at all. So that actually created more curiosity, and I would like to know more about raw food. And that's how I found out about the enzymes and the nutrients that it retains.
And it's super healthy, I can imagine,
yes,
right?
Yes, it is very healthy.
Unprocessed.
Correct, correct. Even if you, caloric-wise, okay, even if you don't change your calorie, let's say you take maybe about your current amount of calories.
Okay.
But if you were to take raw food, there's actually the benefits that you gain out of it probably may make you even lose weight.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
I may need something like that.
You don't need that.
Oh, thank you, Eugene. You're too kind. Jasmine, you're a mother of two. You've changed your diet completely to a raw diet?
No. I think every day I take about 50% raw food. But
So you're one of those foodists who actually you measure what you eat and you make sure that it's, you know, you've got a certain percentage of it, whether it's cooked or raw or processed or whatever.
No, I don't measure. What I do is I make sure that I have a lot of raw food in that day. But I don't measure like
How much? You know?
How much? But
Okay,
in the
so
morning,
you're not an extremist then.
No, I'm not extremist.
Phew. Okay.
Yeah, but in the morning I make sure that my family drinks at least a smoothie or some juice.
Okay.
In between they have some snacks like fruits.
So when we talk about raw diet, we're talking more vegetables and fruits.
Yes.
Okay, we're not talking meats. or
Well, occasionally
sushis and stuff like
we go to a
that?
Japanese restaurant, we eat sushi.
Yeah, of course, of course. Now, you've got
Sashimis.
your kids on the diet as well.
Yes.
Has it always been this way since they were born?
Yes.
Ah, okay, so
Yes.
you can't really tell the difference. Or can you tell the difference between yourself, before you started to eat a lot healthy?
Yeah, when I was a teenager and up to my early 20s, I was really fat and sickly, and I always had gastric pains, and I had this fatigue syndrome. I couldn't wake up. I just want to lie down every day. So then I realized it's the food that I ate.
Okay.
Yeah, so I realized it's the char kway teow, two bowls
It
of
makes you
noodles.
really lethargic, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. So when I was in my 20s, I ate out all the time as a college student. So
Of course, and it's a lot cheaper to do that as well. I mean, the Malaysian mentality, right?
yeah, yeah. And as a student, we rent rooms out in KL City.
Okay.
So we can't cook, so we eat out every day, and
Right.
that actually made me sick, eating all the unhealthy
I
stuff.
know, I understand,
Yeah.
but it's so good, it's
Yeah,
so
it is.
yummy,
It is,
right?
it is.
Okay, Eugene, now you're a wellness coach, would you say that? Yeah. What do you think? I mean, do you think that this diet is just a fad, or is it suitable for the world we live in, and us being Malaysians and us loving our lemaks and lontongs and what have you?
Well, from a nutritional point of view, considering how much processed food we actually eat nowadays, I mean, you just go into a supermarket and you're bombarded with all this processing, and they really put it in all these aisles which you can see,
Okay.
and you really want to grab them. Definitely something that's very highly encouraged, as long as you keep in mind the important points of having all the important nutrients. Sometimes when it comes to diets like this, you can lack certain kinds of nutrients.
Okay.
So you just need to have a very balanced way of eating and not be too extreme about it.
I think a lot of our audience now who are watching, and me included as well, we're thinking it sounds like a lot of work, I mean, we don't know any better, and we're probably Googling stuff, and it's expensive to go to a nutritionist and to sit down and to plan out our meals.
Right.
Is it, how do we make this a lot easier?
I always tell people that when you want to go for a certain kind of diet,
Sure.
whether it's raw food diets or vegetarianism or vegan diets or fruitarian diets, you just have to be very educated about it. You have to be responsible.
Sure.
You can't just say that, I want to get into that diet and I don't want to know very much about it. Some people just do it for the sake of following the trend or being popular. So you need to be educated, number one. And there's tons of information you can find on the internet.
Okay.
But then again, if you want to find a nutritionist, even better.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you immediately there'll be certain things you need to look out for. Right. So I would rather use the term, I like to use this term flexitarian. Because instead of, it's like a combination
I
of
like that
everything.
term.
Yeah, so
Okay.
instead of just saying I want to go hardcore on a certain kind of diet, I'm a little bit flexible. If let's say I need a little bit of protein, a little bit of iron, I can get it from these certain sources. And I believe everyone here agrees to that kind of diet as well.
Okay, okay. I think a lot of people can be quite confused between being a vegetarian and, eating raw stuff and, the healthiness of it all. Maybe you can enlighten us. Any of you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah,
Go
maybe I
ahead.
can. Okay.
At least she's got a point.
Sure.
We spoke
Yeah.
about it earlier.
Yeah, that's right. I was just speaking to Eugene just now. Before that, I was on a normal diet. You see, I eat meat and there's vegetables. And then I proceeded to a vegetarian diet. Now, vegetarian, there are a few types. Some vegetarians take eggs. Some
Dairy
take
and non-dairy.
dairy products.
That's right.
Some take eggs. And of course, cheese as well. And then when you move on to a vegan diet, that's where you take no meat, no dairy products, no eggs whatsoever.
Completely.
It's completely plant-based, but it can be cooked.
Okay.
Okay, so you can maybe have, half of a day you have your raw plant-based food, and then the other half a day you have your cooked plant-based food. Then I think the most extreme transition will be a raw foodist. Someone who totally thrives and lives on 100% raw. And when you go into a raw foodist kitchen, the kitchen is so simple. You just need to have a real good blender,
Okay.
No ovens, no cooking, no nothing. That's all.
I can just imagine. Okay.
It's an
Yeah.
uncooked
It's a
place.
cheap kitchen.
Very
You don't need the big
Yeah.
ovens and stuff.
You don't need ovens, you don't need big woks or big pans. Nothing at all. You just need really good blenders.
But you are not completely a raw foodist.
I am what Eugene say, Jasmine as well,
A
and
flex-
Valerie. We are
Flexitarians. Okay.
well-
Flexi raw foodist.
Flexi raw foodist.
But I always think that everything is in moderation. If I can have a 50% of raw in my meals every day, 50 raw and 50 cooked, I think I'm doing fine. You know, I think, yeah.
Well, what sparked this off? I mean, for all of you, is it about, I mean, I'm sure we, as kids and growing up and all that, as you said, we thrived on our char kway teows and our rice and our, mom's cooking and all that kind of stuff. What sparked it off to start eating healthy? I know I started about maybe 1-2 years ago and it feels different, but
It is.
what about for you guys?
Okay, maybe I can start. Okay, after my studies, I went to the States for a while, and during that time, I was eating, American food.
Okay.
And I was eating a lot, and
Cheesy fries and yummy burgers.
Yes.
Okay.
I can eat like a whole bowl of rice, and then after that, maybe have some more fried chicken or something like that.
Okay.
And so when I came back, when I went to the States, it was about 75 kilos, and then when I came back from the States, I was 130 kilos. So it was like, I didn't look like human.
Okay.
I didn't bring my picture, otherwise I could show you.
You
I could
should
draw a
have.
picture, yes.
Give some inspiration to our
Yes.
viewers out there.
And then, actually I knew raw before that,
Right.
but it's just that not really deep. So after that, when I came back, I had some difficulties in terms of my joints, and I was starting to feel the pain. And at the point where I decided to change completely my diet and really lose weight was because of the pain. It wasn't because of people talking about it, because to me, I don't care. But it was more onto my health. So I decided to change.
For health
and
reasons,
For
I
health
suppose.
reasons,
It's
yes.
always,
Health reasons can be sometimes stronger than image reasons. I mean,
Of course.
looks can sometimes say, hey, dessert, doesn't matter, I look a little bit, no problem. But most importantly, but for me, health, because every day I wake up, it's really painful. It really affects my life. So I had to do something about it. And one thing that I always done before, even in college, that I always go for detoxification. So I went for detox on regular basis and on all raw food diet. It was about 80% raw and then 20% cooked. I mean, because I can't really avoid 100%, there's some things that need to be raw.
Okay.
And after that, about 2 months, including cardio and all that, about 2 months I got down from 130 in 2 months to 95.
Oh, that's determination and discipline for
2
you.
months.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing because comes to raw foodists, most of the people are doing it because of the health reasons, not because it's popular. Unlike vegetarianism, where it's more of a popular thing, sometimes spiritual kind of thing.
Sure.
And it comes to raw foodists, I am sure it reduces blood sugar. It's very heart friendly, and definitely reduces obesity levels. So some of the major problems that we're having in Malaysia can be solved by just going raw, I think.
Yes, but what will happen to all the nasi champurs and stuff like that?
I think those things you can still enjoy
Once in a while,
Once
right?
a while, or probably 2 times a
I
week.
know,
and
I
things
had
like
it for one meal and I feel so super sluggish. Anyway, we are going to go for a very short break. Please hold that thought, and when we come back, this is what we have for you. We're still talking about eating raw, so find out what the pros and cons are, especially if you have a medical factor that you have to keep in mind. All this and more after the break.